Welcome to this month's edition of HazMatIQ Chemical of the Month. What we'll do this month is we're going to refresh you on what you learned in the class. It's got to be a quick 5-minute exercise on how do you use the chart in an emergency. So this month's chemical is going to be barium sulphate. Make sure you go to your and get the books and the charts because you're going to need them for the exercise. So here we go.
Tell them what version is it?
Oh yeah, we're using version number 16, which is the brand new version coming out in September of 2010. So we're using version 16, but it's just some subtle differences. You just pull out your charts. Okay, so the first thing we do when we get a chemical name like barium sulphate, we go to step number 1. We want to do a 20-second size up. Remember what we do after our 20-second size up. We then go to the book, and that whole exercise is designed to figure out what am I going to wear, what meters am I going to carry, and how do I operate safely in the hot zone. So the first thing we do, size up. Step 1, barium sulphate. Go ahead, Chris.
Go back to the model, Joe. So I'm right here. I get dispatched. I'm at the firehouse, I'm at the military base, I'm at the police station, I'm doing hydrants, wherever I'm at, I get the call. I hear the word, I begin to do a mental picture. All I got is a name, barium sulphate. So within 20 seconds, I'll go to the chart. I look for barium, but this is difficult for me because I don't know the periodic chart by heart. So what we did is in chart 2, if you flip it over, there's all the below the lines in alphabetical order, and it asks you at the very top, is the first name of your chemical listed below? It's a yes or no answer. And I go down and I see under B, barium. I said yes, it's there. As soon as I say yes, which is ionic bond in secret, it means this is my below the line standard operating guideline. This is my crew will get dressed in this level of dress. This is the hot zone for the public, for the initial isolation hot zone. This is the equipment I'm going to bring in. These are the hazards I expect. And I'm going to go to chart 4 to get kind of like the second name chart. I go to chart 4 and I verify again barium is here to make sure that I'm in the right chart. Barium is there. I can see it right up here. The reason the W is there is because if it's barium, just one name, it'd be water reactive. But it has 2 names, sulfate. I go down and I look for the closest thing to come to sulfate and see if I can find a match. I go all the way down and I see number 11, that the color is blue. I go over the air, say blue 11, everyone that's in the system that has a chart and listens to you knows that you're on some type of below the line that ends in 8 or ite, barium sulphate, ATI. Even if it was barium sulphite, ITI, it would be blue 11. This gives me the hazards, this gives me all the meters, my meter cockpit, and the ones with the X's are the meters that are going to hit. If the X happens to be in a red column, there's a red light, meaning I need to get out or I could get killed in this call, unless I have a line of sight rescue. So let's go across the cockpit and see what we can predict in the size of what we'll hit. Notice that in chart 16, which the earlier versions don't have, it has for solution a blue X. But it's not the air that's pHing blue, it's the solution from this solid that got exposed or contaminated with water. The next are instruments like the temp gun. It's not increase in temperature unless I get there while the reaction is occurring. Then I could get an increase in temperature. I get a CGI, 0% of the LEL. I'm getting all of the dust meter if it's in the air and not suspended in solution or in water, and all of the meters that I'm bringing in that I don't expect to get a hit in, like the PID, the FID, the Freon meter. I go all the way and I get KI paper, and I got blue for KI paper. See, look at the wet with hydrochloric acid. If it's a powder, if it's wet, you don't need the.
Hey Chris, what does the KI paper see? What hazard is that? What makes it change?
Oxidizers.
Oh, so how did you know it was an oxidizer? If it ends in ATE, look what it says in the hazard box. Toxic, corrosive, strong oxidizer. The KI tells you that it's an oxidizer. Keep it away from a fuel. Go ahead, Chris.
This is now this is the level of dress. Whatever you come to work with is the level of dress you'll initially use. The only reason you would not use that dress is because one of the meters told you you're in an environment that's too hazardous. Get out unless the mission is worth it, which according to our training, line of sight rescue.
That's the only mission you risk your life for, to save a life.
So I'll give you a couple examples of some of the students that could be out there that we've taught. The military's got MOP gear. The EPA's got level B. Police department's got level B. Fire department's got turnout. So you bring the gear that the employer gives you, you go in there to do your rescue and your recon, and based on your meter readings, you decide what to do. Go in or go out. Red light, green light.
So now, we've completed the size up, step number 1. When we do step number 2, you have to pull out your book or a computer or an MSDS, but we're going to verify that initial size up. So we're going to use the NIOSH today. And it's on page 25 on the top.
And guys, just look what we did here. The newer versions keep on chart 3 and chart 4 what I need to look for when I get to the book. Notice that it's in singular. I don't need multiple books or 3 sources. And I only have 2 minutes.
So let's go to the book. What Chris just talked about is I put it in this right here in the box. This is what we need to do. We predicted that barium sulfate was a solid. In the physical description it says powder. Check, we got it right. We predicted that the dust was heavier than air. We go to the molecular weight. We got that right. We predicted that there was no LEL and no UEL. You look at the LEL and the UEL, ain't none. We go to the flash point, ain't none. You put all those together, we're not flammable. Then we predicted. We predicted that it did not polymerize. If you go up to the DOT box, it does not polymerize. So we got that right. The next hazard we predicted was no IP. You go over here to the chemical physical properties box and the IP says NA. We call it ain't none. So there's no IP, PID will not work. Is it an acid? Is it a base? We predicted it's a base, but if you notice, if you look here, you don't see acid or base in that MSDS called the NIOSH. So if you can't verify that it's corrosive in the book, we're going to verify using pH paper. So we'll bring our pH paper, and remember, where do we stick it? On our masks. And we predict it's not going to change in the air, but I'm keeping it right in front of my eyes so I can see if it changes. Next, we predicted it was radioactive. Is it radioactive? It's not a 160 guide number, not radioactive. We predicted that it was air and water reactive. So we go to the reaction box and I look for 2 words, air or water. Neither of them are there. It is not water or air reactive. So we take that whole envelope of information that we just got, and this is what it does for us. It tells me as a firefighter, I will wear turnout gear and SCBA. I will carry all of my meters. I predict the meters that I'll get readings on, and I'll enter the hot zone with those meters, and I will operate in that hot zone unless I hit a red light. If I hit a red light, it's decision time. Do I go or do I not go? And the only reason you run a red light, you got it, save a life.
If the F paper doesn't turn, what color? Remember school bus, yellow. If the F paper turns yellow and there's a line of sight, we're getting out. Because the paper told you at a very low ppm, you got hydrogen fluoride in the air. You're not going to survive that environment in turnout gear or level B.
So listen, that's this month's edition of the Chemical of the Month. Remember, you must continue to practice or you're going to forget this shit. So just do it every month. You'll practice using your charts. When the emergency comes, you'll be ready to work.
If you want the new version, guys, go to www.HazMatIQ.com, click on Exchange Your Chart Program, and we'll send you the new charts, which is version 16. You send us the old charts, and all you're going to pay for is shipping cost.
All right. Peace out.
See you guys.